Good evening. It is October 22nd, 2024. I'm Glenda Carlin, and this is my weekly Tuesday night virtual A Course in Miracles and Dzogchen, spelled Dzogchen. It's told to be the highest teaching in Buddhism, just like A Course in Miracles is Jesus's highest teaching. Both Dzogchen and Jesus speak of that our nature is this, we're a light being, this spirit, clear light spirit. That's our natural state. That's that's here now. It's only veiled by these thoughts and feelings, etc. Which is why we practice advanced forgiveness, because we look past the body to the spirit, the clear light spirit that's here. It's called faking it while making it, because we don't believe that, but it's called reconditioning mind training. We're training the mind to remember what we are, what our brothers are, and what God is. Now, the topic of tonight's meeting is identify where the center of the inner altar is and rest there, be there. And another way of describing this is learn how to rest, or be with a capital B, the big B, with the still point of the turning axle of the center of the cosmic wheel. Now, Jesus would call that vertical alignment in spirit. But for me in my awakening, and he calls it the still point of the storm. That's where we rest and be from. Now, also, before I get started, though, we always invite in, they're always here, Jesus, Buddha, Holy Spirit, enlightened beings. Help me, guide me what to do or say. Help those here in the meeting with insights to help them. And those that listen to this video later, give them insights to help them in their awakening path. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all your help. And while we're at it, then, we want to send out well wishes to all sentient beings in all the realms, and in particular, people in our group, like Nance, for example. Her father is in the last day of maybe or two of passing. And then there's various things that each person might be doing or working with. And Deb Thomas is off in Europe. We wish her well, safe travels. But for all those suffering, for the hurricane, Milton and Helena, that were just 2 weeks to 3 weeks ago, bless everybody's hearts, those that are dealing with that destruction and death, loved ones that died. In the Middle East war and the Ukraine-Russia war. And what we can do, see, what I want to talk about tonight is this great ray, this vertical column of light. Picture it, it's a column, it's a shaft, it's open. If you lean back, we're calling in Jesus, Buddha, Holy Spirit, and enlightened beings. They can work through your form. You're a channel, you're a portal to send light and love and whatever's needed to all these people that are suffering due to wars, violence, whatever the deal is. And then about our election cycle. And that all I got to do is don't complain, vote. Even though everything's an illusion, do we want to blow up our planet? Do we want nuclear war? Do we want heat up the air? No. So we send out good wishes, well wishes, and prayers, and look through this ignorance, these wars, this suffering, to this clear light that's here. But yet we have loving kindness, empathy, compassion, and we're guided what to do or say. We may go help people, offer money, never know, lend a shoulder to someone, not sure what you'll be guided to do. Help those that are in need. Now for some housekeeping here. I'm flying to see my sister in Indianapolis the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So there'll be no meeting the 26th of November. And then also, I signed up for that 6-week lucid dreaming class that Andrew Holacek is having. And so I leave early. It's on Tuesday night. So I shut down this meeting about 5 till 8. So if you have a question or thought, raise your hand prior to then, and I'll get to your question or thought. I was sitting in my chair about this teaching tonight because welcome, Chaz. And while we're on that, then we're just going to go to acknowledging, because we may be quick at the end. Advanced forgiveness is to look past the body to the spirit that's here, but or thinking of each person or thing as God and saying, I love you. Now we can say it out loud here, but like God Barbie, God Glenda, God Ed, God Angela, God Chaz, God Jerry, God Leon, all sentient beings are God because there's only God. We've just temporarily fallen asleep to who and what we are and what our brothers are. But anyway, so I was sitting in my chair thinking about this teaching about this. How do you identify the center of the inner altar and rest there? Excuse me, be there. And so then I sit in my chair contemplating how do I do it so I can express it, and how's the process evolved. But what helped me was a particular phrase that I learned it was to be or rest within the still point of the turning axle of the center of the cosmic wheel. So I'm going to come back to that because that's a big deal. But before I get to how I rest in that still altar center, vertical center, I looked up where Jesus talks about vertical axis. Oh, and also as we awaken from thinking we're bodies, these images, that's moving us from the horizontal axis, Jesus calls it, and that's in chapter 1, section 2, where he talks about there's this, that no man cometh to the Father but through me. He refers to it, and he's saying that's the vertical axis. This statement's more meaningful in terms of the vertical rather than a horizontal axis. You stand below me and I stand below God. But he says, I'll paraphrase, in the seeming fall, in the separation, the distance is too great for us to span. So we reach for his hand, and Holy Spirit asks them to help us, but he can span that distance and take it up, shorten it, based on if we practice this advanced forgiveness, which is thinking of all our brothers as spirit, not bodies. That's the main thing, but also meditation and practicing, integrating these truths into our daily lives, not just mouthing it and reading a sentence and then going off and maybe 2 days later contemplating a truth, Here in that same paragraph 6, he goes, in the longitudinal or horizontal plane, the recognition of the equalities of the members of the sonship appears to involve endless time. However, the miracle entails a sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception. Ha! Okie doke. He only talks about this vertical business a couple of times in the course. But what it is you see a cross in religion where the vertical axis meets the horizontal, where the two meet, that still point, that center, that's the still center point of the storm. That still center point is what we lean back into and rest. That's the clear light, spirit, God presence. But that vertical axis, that's the great ray. And the course teaches about how we, by this practice and the course, the arc of light's released and the great ray downloads. Meantime, that's all been blocked by thoughts and feelings, but we're going to visualize it. So and Jesus says there's this great rays, a ray that comes from eternity. So I visualize like this huge sun above the head, and you just picture a column of light coming straight in. But instead of a head, I want you, this visualization is there's no head. And instead of a head, you visualize a wheel. And, like a axle on a wagon, a wheel. I want you to picture that wheel. It's got a center point, and then there's spokes that come out from it. Well, that still point is where this vertical and horizontal axis meet, and in that is the altar, spirit, this clear light. So there's no head here, then you got the wheel. So that great ray comes down the center of that axle, that center axle point. And when the wheel moves, guess what? That little rim around that still center point, it turns, because it's an axle. It's got to turn to let that wheel move. The great ray light is the still center point that radiates out into that still, into that axle, that turning axle, and goes out all those spokes. And those spokes in Buddhism, a wheel is like the Dharma wheel or the wheel of the universe. It pertains to the 6 realms of existence. All the different realms of beings have taken. Animals includes animals, human realm, etc. But this is significant because this is something you can visualize. And it's helpful because it's the truth. The great ray's there, but it's unknown, but you can visualize it. And it comes straight down the center of that wheel, straight down the middle of your form, and radiates out all your cells, all your organs. It's a healing light. And in full awakening, the body embodies this light. The body's in natural breath and energy, natural heart, mind. It all's natural then, because it's all lit up with this spirit of God, this clear light, etc. But anyway, so how this came up, what this is called alignment, being centered and aligned in spirit. And so when you feel frazzled during the day, or you recognize your mind's off wandering from thought to thought, thing to thing, emotions, then you bring your awareness. We're going from little a awareness to big A awareness. Also consciousness, from little c consciousness to big mind, Christ consciousness. You're taking that big A awareness and you're bringing it here, centering it and aligning it in this vertical great ray. And it's a shaft, it's a tube, it's a column of light that's big enough. It includes everything moves back and forth in it, but I digress. Your body is laying there in that center, and that great ray light's coming in, and it radiates out. but you're aligned and centered in that great ray. You bring your attention back to this vertical axis, because the horizontal axis means the physical realm, earth, belief in the body, the physical realm. Vertically, you're thinking about light, clear light, and spirit. When you go to that, bring your attention to there, to this vertical column. Now, why something came to a vision or whatever came to my mind, and took a while for me to figure out what the heck was that. It looked like just ground, like tan ground, but laying on the ground were little small oval, could be called seeds, could be called drops, just a little oval. They weren't hard, they weren't brown. They're soft, like little soft oval seeds or a drop, but it was oval. And they're just all spread out, just all randomly spread out on the ground. And I'm looking at that going, what is that? Well, now this is what came to me, is that that's our consciousness when we're asleep. Our consciousness is going off on all these little drops or seeds represent karmic seeds in Buddhism. That means this karma or guilt, Jesus might call it guilt, judgments that get stacked in the unconscious mind, scattered around, that are getting lifted up as we do our forgiveness work. Holy Spirit brings things up for us to look at and really let go of, see him as, think of him as God, I love you, and letting that thought or feeling go in the light, seeing through it, being through it to the light, the clear light that's here. Everything is just practice for us to think about that things are clear light of spirit. But anyway, these seeds were all just randomly, drops all randomly laying on the ground. When our awareness or consciousness is regular or scattered, wham, just pay attention to your thoughts. Your thoughts are just going from here to there and back, and feelings are happening. That's all scattered. The mind is scattered with ego stuff. With this centering, with bringing your attention back to this vertical center, guess what? You're grabbing onto your consciousness, your awareness, and you're bringing it back to the holy center, the holy altar, and you're remembering, oh yeah, I'm spirit, I'm light, they're spirit, light. So I'm going to see through this to the light that they are, the spirit that they are, the God that they are. There's only God, spirit. So, and that's why meditation is so, in the Course, Jesus says, let this stream of thoughts and feelings go. Let it come. He didn't say come and go, but let it freely move. I kind of forget the exact quote, but that's the same thing as the sky giving meditation I've learned in Dzogchen, where when in meditation, you're aware when there's a thought or a feeling, you let the thought and feeling come and go on this clear light mind, this clear light of spirit, because you're centered in the altar of spirit. You're centered, you're there. But when the mind wanders to go off with a thought, only way you know it wandered is you realize, oh, I was all thinking I was driving my car. So then you bring your attention back to the vertical center, not repressing the thought, but just letting thoughts and feelings come and go. Now, see, then you're in charge. You're the master. You're the Christ, the Buddha, the God nature, who is awake and alert. Oh, I'm coming back to center spirit. The thought just comes and goes, because that's all that thought is. They're just thoughts. They're just words And then if I start to put my attention on it, I glue the thoughts together to make sentences. And guess what? Those sentences are judgments about whatever the heck I'm thinking about or seeing. And ultimately, they're knee-jerk judgments, and ego jumps right on them, it makes them good or bad or whatever. Now, we're never walking in front of a car. We're never putting the body in harm's way, but yet we're aware of what ego's doing. That's what one of the big deals about meditation. But in meditation, it's huge to bring your attention back to this vertical axis, this vertical area, this vertical plane, the real world, the spirit, clear light. But I was reading in the course. It's on page 9, chapter 1, section 3. When you have been restored to the recognition of your original state, you naturally become part of the atonement yourself. Well, what's your recognition of your original state? Well, it's this clear light, that great rays right there. This clear light, that's right. When you have been restored to the recognition of your original state, when you come back to that original vertical beingness place over and over and over and over, then you begin to rest there and live from there. That's where you operate from versus living from the body, believing you're a body. And this is this sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception that I'm talking about. That's what you want, the sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception. And spirit is at the center. Now, I made some other notes because I wanted to read to you where that's in chapter 1, section 2, paragraph 6. Read the whole sentence. I wrote here. Okay, page 8. I might have read this. Is vertical, sudden shift from horizontal to vertical perception. Because see, perception can be right or wrong. We're coming into the holy perception, this vertical perception. And alignment's another word you want to use with yourself. I'm aligned, vertically aligned, centered. Come back to center, come back to center. And that's this Christ mind. And in the Course in Miracles, Jesus says, mind is the activating agent of spirit. So I wanted to read that to you because how does spirit see about what he said here? Mind is used to represent the activating agent of spirit, supplying its creative energy. Now that's really very big statement because rarely do I find the word energy in Jesus's course, and people poo-poo that word energy when in essence light is energy. Light is prana, energy. It activates the form. Just try to live without this light that sparks in the eye besides the breath. But anyway, supplying its creative energy. So what we're doing by using this mind, the term mind, we're going back, we're using our mind to bring it back to center. We're activating spirit. Remember I say to you, when you come back there, remember, oh, I'm spirit. I'm the clear light of spirit. Well, you're activating spirit then because you're using your mind to think about spirit. I tell you, it's so subtle. I missed it. I missed this is really awakening, how you can use your Christ God mind. Now, and I missed something else. In this section, this is in clarification of terms. Jesus says, of course, this seems to happen. We don't have a split mind. It's all pure God mind. But in this fall, in the separation, in the asleep state, we seem to have a split mind. And Jesus says that mind has two parts, as if it has two parts, spirit and ego. Whoa, he do. So we spirit's the part that's still in contact with God through Holy Spirit. But of course, the other part of the mind is entirely illusory, illusory, and makes only illusions, makes dreams, illusions. And that's the ego part. Mind can be right or wrong, depending on the voice to which it listens. Right-mindedness listens to the Holy Spirit, forgives the world, and through Christ's vision, sees this real world, sees this world of light, clear light, love, love, light soaked with divine love, unconditional love, permeating through all these beings. But just because everything's unconditional love, we're not here to be allow for physical abuse, mental abuse, be stepped on, be abused, taken advantage of. No, no, no. That is suffering. That is ignorance. That is not, that is while we wake up from the dream, Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, all the enlightened beings will give us answers, will try to help us to ease our suffering as they talk to us about the truth. Okay, anyway, wrong-mindedness listens to the ego and makes illusions. But then Jesus says, and then you got this remaining freedom that we got is the freedom of choice. Always between two choices or two voices. The voice for God, Holy Spirit, which is the only real voice, and this ego voice. So picture, Jesus isn't teaching that we each got a voice in this deal. No, ego's talking, ego voice or Holy Spirit voice. So if a person just calms themselves and sits in this quiet stillness, where are these thoughts coming from? People think those thoughts are theirs. They are not. We are pure spirit. We are pure clear light spirit. But anyway, how am I doing on this? I want to get to this two choices. And Jesus says, consciousness is the receptive mechanism receiving messages from above or below, from Holy Spirit or ego. So what I'm talking about here is little c consciousness is over there listening to ego, that where we gossip, we make up, we glue thoughts together, get attached to things, push things away. That's what's it say? It's a receptive mechanism receiving messages. We're receiving messages nonstop from above or below. This is a Jesus quote from the Holy Spirit or ego. Now, of course, consciousness has levels, but you betcha we're wanting to wake up from little c consciousness to big C consciousness, to the big Christ mind, spirit. So if as I awaken, I become more and more aware of all these karmic seeds, it's a minefield. That vision I saw was just like a ground, just scattered, very little distance between these drops. Let's just call it what it is, a minefield of thoughts and feelings that are laying in the unconscious mind, ready for us to grab onto or push away. But as we awaken, we learn to let things come and go. This is a huge teaching, to simply let thoughts and feelings come and go on this clear light God mind that we got. And if you do it in meditation, then you learn to do it off the meditation cushion when you're walking around your house or anywhere. You're learning to let thoughts and feelings come and go and lean back and not just jump out there and knee jerk do these reactions out of ego, right? Whoa. So it's wonderful what you're doing is becoming aware. Jesus says the proper use of these feelings is to use them to be aware of which voice we're listening to. So if you feel irritated, upset, worried, depressed, frustrated, angry, all these means I've been listening to the wrong voice. I need to choose again. Oh, but something came to me a couple of days ago when I was meditating, because it's hard to tell which voice I'm listening to, the Holy Spirit or ego. So after a couple of days or almost a week of getting a certain message, I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So I asked somebody, I explained what message I was getting, and I said, I'm not sure if this is true or not. It could be ego masquerading as you. Just tell me, reply, right? But what dawned on me was, if I hadn't asked that question of the person who I was seen to be getting this message from, then that thought was staying in my mind. Well, I wonder if that's true or not. Well, how the hell do I know it's true? Is ask the person, did you mean that? Is that a message you're trying to send me that's what I should do? And I realize I haven't gotten a reply back, but I realized whatever the reply is, that's going to let me know because how to be directed. Because I pray every day, guide me, Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, guide me what to do or say. So I'm getting some guidance. I'm hearing some thoughts in my mind. But if I don't go pursue it, ask the question, then I may be missing some guidance or from Holy Spirit, or I could find out, no, that wasn't me talking. That was ego. I thought, wow, that's good. You can use everything. Not be afraid to use everything to wonder if something's true or false. Anyway, so I found some wonderful quotes when I was looking up here about this still center of this turning axle of this cosmic wheel. See, this cosmic wheel, that means all these physical forms, including my body. If this wheel, my head's a wheel, and the center's is this still center point, but my body's part of this spokes out here, this wheel, all with this universe, all your house, your apartment, your yard, the universe. That's all spinning around this still center point of the God Spirit, animating everything. Now, it's pretty bizarre because we're each a still center point. But you recognize when you're in that presence of that stillness, all beings are in that stillness as well. Of course, we're all animated by that. But Jesus says, a great ray connects each of us to eternity. So each of you are fueled by a great ray. In Hinduism, it's called a cord of light. Comes straight in the top of your head down through your form. But anyway, here, this was miracle number 17. Miracles transcend the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility away from the bodily level. That is why they heal. Now, what am I talking about here? This whole teaching is about this. Miracles transcend the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility away from the bodily level. I want you to take your attention, your focus, your consciousness, your awareness, bring it to this vertical great ray light. That transcends the body. Yay. Sudden shifts into invisibility. That means in that second when you do that, this form's not here. It's invisible. You're in that you're in that light, with that light. You are that light, but you're with it. You're aware of it. This is miracle 20. Miracles reawaken the awareness that the spirit, not the body, is the altar of truth. Now, that's also what I'm talking about here. We're reawakening your awareness that spirit, not the body, is the altar of truth. So that's still center point. That's the altar of truth as well. This great ray, this clear light, this God mind, that mind, the activating agent of spirit, this is truth, the altar of truth. Miracle 23, miracles rearrange perception to place all levels in true perspective. Now, that's the other thing this vertical axis does. It's a miracle. A miracle is a change in thinking, a change in perception. So when you take your mind, your attention, and you're rearranging perception. You're taking your perception from being on this horizontal plane, all these thoughts and feelings that you can picture them as drops or seeds all laying all over the ground, all this karmic seeds. That's the unconscious mind just full, just got this stuff in there. But you're rearranging perception. You're taking your perception from the horizontal plane to this vertical axis. I love it. And that places all levels in true perspective. Miracle 25. Miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which completed is the atonement. Atonement works all the time and in all the dimensions of time. There's that forgiveness thing. Every time you think of somebody as God, Spirit, I love you, that's advanced forgiveness. You're developing this interlocking chain of forgiveness. Miracle 30, by recognizing Spirit. See, that's what I want you to do. Go to this. See, even you can look past my body to the clear light of Spirit that's here, or past Edward or Chaz or Angela or Barbie or Corinne or Jerry or Julia or Leon, the Spirit that's here. But I'm talking to you about this vertical axis point of Spirit. By recognizing Spirit, miracles adjust the levels of perception and show them in proper alignment. This is the proper alignment vertically. This places Spirit at the center where it can communicate directly. The center is the center of that turning axle of that wheel I'm talking about. The center is the center in that great ray column of light. The center. That's that clear light, the great ray light. I'm going to read that one again. By recognizing Spirit, miracles adjust the levels of perception. You're taking these levels of egoic level, unconscious ego level, and it's putting them in proper alignment. You're like a sudden shift, Jesus calls it, wham, sudden shift from horizontal alignment to vertical. That's where you're going. And that it says this places Spirit at the center where it can communicate directly. Now, Miracle 32, I got a note here. I'm going to read the whole shebang. What's 32? And thank you, Helen Schutman and Bill Thetford for A Course in Miracles and Foundation for Inner Peace for the publishing of it. I inspire all miracles, which are really intercessions. This is Jesus talking. They intercede for your holiness and make your perceptions holy. By placing you beyond the physical laws, they raise you into the sphere of celestial order. Ha! Wow. That's the only place in the Course, I think, that he talks about celestial order. Ha! This is the vertical axis. And where it meets the horizontal, that point where the two meet is the still center of that turning axle of that cosmic wheel, of the center of that cosmic wheel. Now, so much of this is visualization. You sit and you visualize this great ray light coming in, and then no head but a wheel. The center axle is still, that's the still calm of the storm. Then that great ray light, it radiates out all the spokes of the wheel, out your body, but out all the universe. And that wheel's turning because the universe is turning. Everything's moving, everything's changing. It's coming and a going because it's an illusion, but you let it come and go because you're resting your being in the still vertical, aligned and centered in the still vertical axis point. And this brings up a point. How fooled we are, and it's based on habit and culture and training, but how fooled we are that We just get used to seeing that there's bodies, there's images. Look at, look at all the on the screen, these bodies, these images. Without recognizing this is a dream that we're looking at, that these are false images that we've made up. We've come from the default that this stuff's real. Now, we're not going to put the body in harm's way. But what I want to point out is you can use this illusion to wake up by recognizing, hold it. What in front of my eyes? What's permanent? What's eternal? What's immortal? That's a question you want to ask yourself. What's immortal? What's permanent? Because you're reasoning with yourself. Well, it is not this body. It's not my blinds behind me, that wall. Not my hand. Not even that, not that plant. We're reasoning with ourselves by saying, because that stuff's there and it changes, it grows, it gets older, it decays, it gets sick, it hurts. So that's proven to us that is not real. It's a dream. And this is really some good questions to ask once in a while. Maybe ask them every day, because then you recognize even me moving my hand, movement is an illusion, because what is permanent or immortal will not move. It will not change. My eyesight, my whatever, I take off this necklace and put on another one, that is change. This is a dream. It's huge to ask yourself during the day, put on sticky notes, hey, this is a dream. It's called practice, illusionary, illusory form practice in this dream yoga book. Because as I prepare to try to be lucid in my nighttime dreams, because we dream at night. So Jesus says in the Course, we're serial dreaming. We dream at night. And then we're dreaming during the day and aren't even aware of it. But as I'm trying to become lucid at night, that Andrew Holacek says, there's these sentences to put on sticky notes and write or put around in drawers, on your toothbrush, by your chair. Is this a dream? Am I dreaming? Hey, this is a dream. Because see, what'll happen, then that's preparing me for at night. There's certain things we do when we lay down to sleep. But then when a dream shows up, we are to become aware when there's a dream showing up in the mind at night. And then we can ask, is this a dream? Because that's to become lucid. Am I dreaming? I haven't had a lucid dream yet, but as a result of this practice for nighttime dreaming lucidity, I'm getting lucid in the daytime, realizing I'm walking around in my own dream. And that there's a statement I even say to myself, may I awaken within the dream and grasp the fact that I am dreaming so I can help all beings wake up. Because how you help all beings wake up is if you wake up, then your light is shining all the time, radiating out, which is love as well, divine love, out to all the universe, all the beings. But anyway, just by this big question I'm asking you, my hand's moving. If this was permanent, my hand would be permanently positioned this way for eternity. Because that's how God is. God is permanent, clear, light, spirit that's invisible and never changes. It's this soaked with that divine love. It never changes. It's clear light. That's why it's hard to see it, but it doesn't change. And these forms are coming and going on it. that mind, that's the creative activating agent of spirit, that mind is making and manifesting all these forms. That's what this God mind, Son of God, did when it created the Garden of Eden. These are just blown up children's toys it was playing with. Made trees, people, leaves, all this stuff. He's having a fine old time till it fell in love with one of these forms and forgot it was the spirit, the light that animated the forms, became a body, imprisoned itself, its spirit, in a body. Where's the last place you would look for spirit? Inside your mind, inside your divine heart. Anyway, that was that celestial sphere. So when you take your attention from wandering around out here on this vertical plane, looking at the birds and the trees and the stuff in your house, and you just caught up sleepwalking, and in a second you shift that attention, that's a sudden shift into this vertical axis, into your true identity, clear light spirit. Miracles are examples of right thinking, aligning your perceptions with truth as God created it. Here, that's what we're talking about here, is right thinking. And look what that word again, aligning your perceptions. You're taking your perceptions, your awareness, your thinking, your attention, and taking it vertically, aligning it. So as often as you can during the day, pause, take your attention to this vertical axis. Picture this whole great ray light, and there's this still center, and it's spacious, clear light. It's spacious, clear light. Now I'm talking about just a space here by you, but it's infinite. We're somewhere else, and when I found it's a circle. Jesus talks about it's a perfect circle. That's how you picture that axle. It's that turning axles in the middle of that wheel. That axle, it's a clear circle, a perfect circle. Of course, that light and it radiates out all of it. But you just lean back and rest in that clear light. Now, you can picture it of being like, let's check the time, spirit, like a big fluffy pillow. And you lay it behind you, this fluffy pillow, and you just lean back into it and rest your weary heart and mind. Then when you're resting in that pillow, just bring your attention to this great light ray, and you believe Jesus is clear light. You know, I know there's light animating my form. I see that light shines out of my eyes. Clear light. You just rest in it. And then you go about your day as often as you can. Any thoughts or questions? Because it's 6 till 8. Let's see what else I've got in here. Because of course, this dream business, I should read where Jesus says, oh, I'm going to read this and then we'll do it here. T6, IV6. You are a child of God. Nothing else exists, and only this is real. You have chosen a sleep in which you have had bad dreams, but the sleep is not real, and God calls you to awaken. So, of course, you know, we're not making this up. Jesus calls this a sleep, a dream that he wants us to wake up from. And somewhere else, Jesus says, there's nothing, that's in my email, nothing outside you. There's nothing outside you. So this hand, this body, these are all impermanent false images that we've made up in this on this movie screen. You're just reminding yourself of this during the day so that your mind doesn't blow a fuse. This is you can have a gradual awakening, not, it's called, as you go in circles, spiraling circles up the mountain, you swoop from above where I am spirit. I am the clear light of spirit. I rest and be in this vertical great ray, this point where the vertical axis meets the horizontal axis. That's a still point. That's that quiet center. That's that clear light of spirit, God mind. I'm going to rest there. That's my home. That's our home. And it radiates out everywhere. And in awakened state, then you look out, you practice faking it while you make it. You look out and you see, it's called seeing through, being through, so-called cutting through. You're looking through the form to this clear light of spirit that's here. It's just practice, 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 you guys. I love you all. Any thoughts or questions or comments before I stop the recording?
I just want to ask you, I loved when you said you have freedom of choice and freedom of voice too, ego versus the Holy Spirit. I've heard a choice, but not the voice, which is, basically the same thing. And listening to the right choice. And you said too, you had difficulty. So, but then you said you did some kind of something that helped you through that choice or voice. What do you do to know it's the right one? Or it's not the ego, and it's the Holy Spirit.
There's these two voices that we're the awareness, consciousness
Right.
that we're aware of. It's not easy. Usually the feelings, if
I
you
know.
feel peaceful or confident or at ease, but yet then if you have to make a decision, then you tell the person, I'm not sure if this is the thing or to do or not. I heard this. What do you think? And because see, I was getting a message that seemed to be something I was to do for a person or whatever, but they've assured me, no, I don't want you to do that with me. So we do question. I use these thoughts as guidance. I'll try out something, but then you try it. If it doesn't work, I adapt. I ask again, show me, and then I adapt. It's spontaneously adapting. Sometimes you know it right off, and others it's
Times it takes
slicker.
time. All right,
Well,
yeah.
but if you don't have time, then and it's you make a decision, and then you go, I
That's what I
gotta
did.
adapt.
I heard a voice about moving because my situation wasn't good, and I said, is this I just wanted to listen to the Holy Spirit, not the ego, and I made the choice to move, and then the hurricane came and destroyed that place. So I'm wondering why it was directed there. Was I listening to the wrong voice? Anyway, so it I guess I have to practice, like you said, practice, practice, practice.
Well, see, you can look at what happened as an opportunity to practice of the giving up of whatever got removed, right?
Yeah, maybe it was the ego that wanted to make the move, and I just thought it was the Holy Spirit, but now I won't know. I don't know.
No, because see, we use everything for grist for the mill, it's called, for practicing of that's then relinquishment of attachment to things. Now, granted, I don't wish anybody anybody losing everything. That's horrible. All okay. But then we have to, that's then called the adapting part of leaning back. Help me, what's the message here of we still can have possessions, we still can have a home, have all these things, but it's our attachment to it,
Thank
our
you.
firm attachment to it. We won't be denied anything. We're not going to be denied being able to have a roof over our home ahead and food and love and happiness and good health and all those things. Because I'm the middle way. We get all this. If we need help, we go to a therapist or to a food bank or whatever we need to do to help ourselves and to help others. It's not easy because ego's always talking. He's never going to give up talking. Never, ever. Just in that stillness, you just hear it easier. And that's why then if you have family, friends, and people you can talk to when the huge decision about something, then, and you have a piece of paper and you make the list of pros and cons, because it's not easy to make these big decisions.
I like what I like when you said attachment, that, yeah, my attachment. Look at that part first. I'm going to do that.
Oh, everything's comes from the our realms ruled by desire. And that desire is I want, causes I want or I don't want. But we still, and then with that comes, I want it is attachment. I don't want it is aversion, pushing away. But doesn't mean we can't have a balanced life, shelter, food, clothes, all the things that all of that we can. It's how I feel about it. And oh, that I read somewhere, maybe it was in this. Oh, bring up anything you're afraid of. This made good sense to me. Bring it to mind and sit with it. And then you'll start to feel your feelings, because ego doesn't want you to look at what you're afraid of. And it could be the loss of certain things, or not having a relationship, or losing family members, or I don't know, ill health, I don't know. But then just look, and you're not manifesting that, you're looking at that fear that's usually been buried in the unconscious mind. But you're brave enough, you're a warrior, not that we're killing things, but you're a warrior. You can look at this stuff, you're strong. Holy Spirit, be with me as I look at this thing I'm afraid of. Because if you can let go and look at that, then you probably let go of 1,000 or 10,000 things that you've been afraid of. It's not just this lifetime, all lifetimes. Now, I forgot, when I searched for this, I found another place where Jesus says, and put it in, a teacher of God can save thousands of years. Now, there's not reincarnation. Why does he keep talking about saving you? One, that means all these, y'all are teachers of God, can save the humanity 1,000 years or more. But go ahead, Chaz, you got a question. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
Still recording.
Sorry. Oh, we're still
Still
recording?
recording. If you don't want it recorded, you want me to stop recording?
I'd rather.
Okay, so go around the room. Let's see. And let's see, call each other out as God. I love you. Holy God, Barbie. Holy God, Ed. Holy God, Glenda. Holy God, Angela. Holy God, Chaz. Holy God, Harry. Holy God, Julia. Holy God, Leon. Holy God. There's only God. That's lesson 183. Call yourself by your name. But also the Course says Jesus, Christ nature, Buddha nature. Of course, it doesn't say Buddha, but Christ nature. Okay. So next week, if y'all want to come out earlier, like 6:45, we can chat, because normally we chat at the end, but now I got to go to that lucid dreaming meeting. Go ahead. I'm going to stop the recording. I'm stopping the recording.
I was just
Wait, I just thought of something. We dedicate the benefit of anything we all receive from this meeting to all sentient beings, so they can wake up from the dream they've ever been incomplete, apart, or separate from themselves or brothers or God. You always want to dedicate the merit, give it away. We don't want to keep give it. There's more than enough to give and share. Okay, stop recording.